Second guest speaker is Eric Pyle. Eric has decided to join us in person today, which we thank him for. Eric is a Director of Public Affairs and Policy at SolarZero. The floor is yours, Eric.
Okay, thank you. And I've got a couple of student family members home, and I really didn't want to trust the internet with a couple of university students in the house. So next slide, please. Why are we doing this? Well, if some of the projections for investment actually come to pass, I suspect society won't thank us, and certainly in discussions with ministers and so on, they are worried about this. So we can do things smarter, we can do things cheaper, I think, as Rob said in the start. So that's why this stuff to us is really, really important for the whole industry. Next slide, please. So I think the existing principles, it's fantastic to have principles, it's fantastic for the authority to be focusing on this. I think it's really, really important. But however, reading the principles, I got the sense that the authority thought that the industry knows what they're doing. And I'd even say for SolarZero, we are on such a steep learning curve with what we're doing that I think the whole area is evolving, and I think the principles need to reflect that. Next slide, please. So we're proposing 4 additional principles and the amalgamation of 1 to keep it to the magic 10, but recognise the benefits of flex at all levels of the hierarchy of the power system. Signalling well in advance, really important. Learning is critical, rewarding that and enabling that, and having a clear procurement strategy. Next slide, please. So I got told the other day by a power system engineer that we were double dipping. I also got told on almost the same day that it's not double dipping, it's recognising the positive externalities, and that's from an economist. So I'm with economists, so I'm in safe zone on that one. But look, we need to, when you're at the grid edge, you will provide benefits all the way up the power system hierarchy, and those need to be recognised and rewarded. So it's not double dipping, it really is the economist's view of life, I would argue. And I'll just ask the question, are we all aligned? Is some of the work that Transpower's doing in regional non-network solution type stuff aligned with the local alliance company? But we need to get all of those rewards lined up. AMPs often focus on single projects, not that integrated view, which I think is needed. Next slide, please. Pricing is just a form of communication. There'll be 1 or 2 people on the call who will recognise that because they told it to me. We need targeted pricing in space and time. TOU is great, but it's going to result in flex all over the place, and it doesn't provide us with the signals on where to go. We also need psychology. The clean car discount showed that when government handed a bit of money, people really took up EVs. When BYD dropped their price to the same level, people did not take up EVs. So psychology of pricing is really important. Next slide, please. To err is to be human. To fail completely is to be software. That's what a power system engineer told me. There is just so much learning that we're going through. We're going from big pieces of kit to hundreds, tens of thousands of devices all operating with software. And we need to somehow factor in the cost and the time of learning into all of this. And we need to recognise it as an industry. Because, you know, the conversations we have with Aurora, with the Upper Clutha project, are just completely different to when we started 2 or 3 years ago. And we've just learned so much. Next slide, please. It is too early to effectively contract for non-transmission solutions. Challenges include limited existing capacity and difficulty in defining pricing and other contractual terms. That was from a procurement manager to me. My view is that procurement manager will never ever procure flex. Okay? Hasn't got the right sort of space to do it. We have 130 years of practice of procurement for hard pieces of kit, and we've got almost 0 years of procurement of flex in terms of widespread flexibility. We really need to up our game and really understand what a procurement process looks like for flex. We probably don't know, and we've got some of probably the best experience without wanting to sound arrogant in New Zealand, but we really need to figure out this procurement thing. Again, people are talking about windows of opportunity, and that's what we really need to look at in terms of procuring flex. So we need to go from the 130 years of practice and rapidly get up the curve in terms of procuring flex. Next slide, please. So in summary, I suggest adding 4 principles. Recognise the benefit of flex at all levels of the power system. Signalling in space and time, getting those signals right so that we know where we should be deploying our kit. Learning, absolutely critical. How do we encourage learning right across the industry? Because I can tell you, we are on a steep learning curve ourselves. And what does a procurement strategy look like for Flex? How can that work in practice? And how can we work that through in the industry and get that really well sorted out? And that's me. Thank you.